Okay, hello everyone. Thank you all for watching. This is the first episode of God Review. I will now review a god. The god will be Hebo, and this is for duel. So yeah, Hebo God Review. Let's go into it. First, let me go into, well, the build, I'd say. I want to start with the build. Yes, let's start with the build. Let me just go over here. Okay, here I am now. So yeah, let's start with the build for Hebo against ADCs. So what I would like to buy against ADCs, well, I would like to buy Mage Blessing first. I would then buy Breastplate, level 1. Let's start the build, and then 3 HP potions and, well, 3 mana potions. You can also just buy a little bit less if you feel like your enemy will recall really fast. You can also recall after and just get your mana back and all. But I guess you might want to pick up boss later anyway. Just buy 3 HP, 3 mana. You're probably good off with that. Then I would say Shoes of the Magi. Now you can also go for Shoes of Focus. Which one is better is very debatable. I don't think you can really have any conclusions in that. 10 penetration is good. And 10 cooldown reduction is also good. So some scenarios it's better to have the cooldown reduction. And some scenarios it's better to have the penetration. What can I say? It's all up to you, but my personal preference against ADCs is Shoes of the Magi. I would go have the Nemi line, not Breastplate of Valor. It's an optional item, but against ADCs, I would definitely go have the Nemi line and not even buy Breastplate of Valor. And then I would go for Warlock Staff. You can also go for Gem, but against ADCs, slowing them, where does it put them? It puts them in well, a spot where they can still hit you, most likely. Like, you don't have to kite them. That's the point. They're ranged, so yeah, there's no point to keeping them on a ranged distance, because that's what they want anyway. And then I would go for Divine Ruin, because, well, ADCs most of the time go for lifesteal. And if they don't, maybe they're Cupid, and they go for, well, Transcendence with, like, relying on their 2 or something, and maybe Bracers. So I would definitely pick up Divine Ruin, unless the ADC completely just ignores lifesteal and has no healing sources from his abilities. Then I'd say maybe also has no braces. Then I would say skip Divine Ruin, and then I would go for Obsidian Shard. Obsidian Shard over Spear of Magus, because your enemy is most likely going to buy 1 defense item. This will put his defense above 100 usually, so that makes Obsidian Shard a little bit better. I feel like. I think you can do the math on it, but yeah, you can't really do the math on it, because in some scenarios, if you hit your spear 5 times in a row, maybe it's better. But I don't see you hitting your spear 5 times in a row, maintaining it or something, and not having him already dead, because Hebo hitting someone 5 times, yeah, it's usually a kill. So after that, well, I would finish, or no, start actually, because I don't start with Bancroft level 1 against ADCs. I would start building Bancroft talent, kind of late, but why not? Roast Duty kind of died, so I would say Bancroft talent is a good pickup as a 6th item here as well. A little bit of lifesteal, a lot of damage, just a good item overall for the money. And you kind of want to spend money after that on upgrading your shell, because shell is very good against ADCs. I definitely recommend you to always get it against ADCs, without any exception. And then the relic after that, or maybe before that if you want to buy something else before shell, which is well, understandable. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can go for, well, I suggest sprint, because it helps you, well, get away. You also have obviously your 2, which you can ignore slows with and everything. But sprint also helps you to keep up with dashing ADCs, sprinting ADCs, or jumping ADCs, and just consecutively hit your 1. So he will just crumble to that. You don't even need to upgrade your sprint necessarily, because your 1 will not give you any movement penalties anyway. So it's something I would recommend against ADCs for sure. And then, well, then you're kind of done. You could also not buy Bancroft, and you can buy, well, I wouldn't suggest Typhon's Fang, because I wouldn't buy it on its own. I would match it with Bancroft Talon and just ignore Divine Ruin or something. If you feel like you don't need to have any anti-healing, you're gonna kill him anyway without him hitting you at all, or something like that. You can have that mindset, sure, it could even happen quite often, so you can even go for that. But overall, I'd say maybe you can go Breastplate at this point, because, well, maybe he will not have that much penetration. If he doesn't buy any penetration, I'd say go for Breastplate. But if he buys Titan's Bane, I wouldn't really bother. I would just probably go Typhon's Fang or Gem of Isolation. Nah, no, not really at this point. I would just go Bank of Talent. I wouldn't really like to stack up Gem and Warlock Staff, especially in a lot of the FK saves. It makes it too efficient. But yeah, either Warlock Staff or Gem of Isolation. Yeah, never really both. I wouldn't recommend it. Anyway, let's move on to the mages. Against mages, well, yeah, it's a little bit different because you don't want to buy magic defense. Sorry, physical defense against mages. So yeah, that's why I have a separate build against mages as I do against ADCs. Obviously, I would start with Tiny Trinket because I like to have a little bit of early game clear against mages, and I don't really see any good value out of going magical defense at first, because if you fight Hebo against Hebo, you probably want to have that extra clear, because once you're done with the minions and the enemy is not, you will have your minions in his face while you can still harass him, which is good for you. So yeah, that's my starter build. You can go for 3 HP potion or 3 mana potions. I'll leave that up to you, but that's well, I'll leave everything up to you. This is just my suggestion, but that's very important though. Getting either 3 HP or mana potions. It will definitely, well, give some twist to how the game might go. And then I would go for Shoes of Focus usually against well, Hebo itself. I would go for it, preferably over Shoes of Magi. And then I would pick up Genji's Guard. It's my go-to item against mages. I wouldn't really pick it up against Anubis first, maybe even second. I don't think I would ever get 2 defense items against Anubis. I would just pick up Bulwark of Hope instead. It has the shield, which is good against his ult, just surviving it. And the crowd control reduction is definitely welcome as well. And a little bit more of HP, so it all works out against Anubis. So yeah, you can also get both of them eventually, but I wouldn't start with 2 defense items in a row. After Genji's Guard or Bulwark, I would go for Bank of Talent. Bank of Talent, you finish off your Tiny Trinket you got in the start. Gives you a decent amount of lifesteal, and it's just a good item for what you pay for it. Gives you quite a lot of magical power. Then I would go into Warlock Staff, especially in a Hebo mirror. You don't really need the Gem of Isolation because, well, yeah, there's no really value in it. Like, he will use this to you, will use it too, and then what, you know, like, you can't really slow him anyway. So yeah, just go for Warlock Staff against Hebo. Against other mages, you could go for Gem, but I don't really see the purpose of it usually. I would just well, I mean, you get some more tempo into the game. Maybe you can go for Gem. But overall, I personally go for Warlock Staff. It's okay if you do Gem. It's okay if you do Gem. And then I would go for Obsidian Shard, absolutely, because the enemy will get either 1 or 2 defense items. If he doesn't, then he's a little bit lost. Not lost in terms of losing a game, but lost in his mental state, because you definitely want to buy defense in duel. Then I would go for Book of Thoth. Well, yeah, Book of Thoth is a suggestion. It's kind of an optional kind of thing already. I didn't tag a build on it, as you can see. So yeah, you can either go for Spear of Desolation or just more defense. Go for double defense is probably your best bet. Going for Divine Rune is also really good, especially if your enemy has Bracer or a lot of lifesteal. I don't even think you not necessarily need it. I don't think so. Even when you're playing Anubis with a lot of lifesteal, you don't really need it. You can usually just one-shot him or just use upgraded Thorns and just ult through his ult or something. He will usually just die anyway. So yeah, there's that. You can also go for Typhon's Fang instead, which is like, it's 2018, Roll of the Hoodie is no longer good. Typhon's Fang is a good alternative. You have a lot of healing and it gives you quite some power. Maybe it's even better than Book of Thoth in most scenarios, so that's a good suggestion, I guess. So then, Relics. I kind of already talked about a little bit, but I guess Bracer from doing most of the times, especially in a Hebo mirror, I would start with it. It gives you a lot of health back from, well, maybe a 3-1 combination, or maybe even his ult on level 5. And then Shield of Thorns, usually against Hebo itself. Against other mages, I might want to go for Sprint. You can juke some abilities and chase them with your 1 or something like that. So, yeah, you can go for that. You can also go for Shell. Not as good as it is against, let's say, a Warrior, I feel like, because it's up to basic as well. Hebo doesn't really get all too much out of his basics, but it can help you out, I guess it could. Honorable mention should be, also for the items by the way, is Polynomical. I buy it sometimes when I'm far ahead to just close out the game, but to be honest, giving advice when you're far ahead, that's kind of silly. When you're far ahead, you know you're just doing stuff right. I don't need to give you any guides on moments like that. Then let's look at the warriors. Quite similar to ADCs, but well, there's definitely some noticeable differences. I have Gem in here. I have cooldown reduction from Shoes of Focus instead of Shoes of Magi, and Breastplate of Valor instead of I have the Nemean line in the recommended. Because you kind of want to kite them. You don't really get as much basic attack damage from warriors as you do from ADCs. You get more skill damage. So you don't really need that Nemean line badly, but you could still pick it up. I would just suggest you to go for Divine Ruin most of the time though, because you want to kind of have some anti-healing. Usually warriors have sustain. If they don't have any sustain at all, you can pick something else up like Typhon's Fang. You can go for Warlock Staff or Gem of Isolation. Both are pretty good. I put Gem of Isolation in recommended because it helps you kite warriors, and that's kind of what you want against warriors. So yeah, there's that. So now we discussed the build from Hebo. I didn't go over assassins, but they usually in the same box as warriors. The only difference is sometimes the assassins have a little bit more basic attack focused builds, or just gods. They're just a little bit more basic attack focused as warriors are. So maybe instead of Divine Ruin, pick up Hive Nemean line. Just stack it on top of Breastplate. It's fine. It's kind of cheeky going double defense, but it's pretty good against assassins, I can tell you that. So yeah, there is that. There's my build for Hebo in duel. Now I will look into, well, the banning strategy. Because, well, it's kind of silly, because Hebo is most likely going to be banned anyway. But this is just in case Hebo is not banned by enemy. What would you want to have banned if you really wanted to play Hebo? This is my personal opinion on what counters Hebo, kind of as well. So this is also kind of a counter list. So yeah, just take it as an opinion. Here we go into the banning strategy. One moment. Whoops. Very good production. Nice, good job. Okay. Alright, well, let's go into the bans. I kind of already saw what I would ban, but yeah, I wanted to do this like kind of smoothly. Alright, let's go into it. Agni first, because why? Well, because Agni has kind of a good kit against Hebo. He has usually like the potential to even out-sustain Hebo, slowly poke him down and just get objectives if he has to recall or something. Because Hebo gets lifesteal, you get lifesteal, Hebo gets Divine Ruin, you get Divine Ruin. Hebo hits you, but you don't really hit Hebo, because Hebo is just longer range. His ult is long range. He can stun you when you come a little bit too close. If he plays it very disciplined passive, then he will have maybe a slight edge over you. Not necessarily win every game, but I think he just really has a slight edge over you. So after Agni, I would definitely ban Thoth. Thoth is maybe a little bit underrated in NA. People definitely know its potential in Europe. He is actually very popular ban lately among top duel players, and I always banned him from kind of the start of the season. So Thoth, kind of same story as Agni as well, the reason why. But yeah, he's just really good against, well, anything actually. You can just kite, you can even kite ranged gods. He has the longest range of, well, you can probably name other abilities have longer range, but he has very consistent long range damage. That will outrange Hebo, definitely, and just, you will slowly disciplined play, you will slowly kill Hebo. Poke him down, maybe even get objectives when he recalls, because he will have to eventually when he's being poked down. So yeah, that's gonna be tough. Third ban is another clown god, Loki. Loki, because if you get a Loki who's lucky enough to juke, things while he's invisible. You're basically guessing where he's at with your 1. I wouldn't really recommend guessing where he is with your 3 because you'll most likely get in a really bad spot if he engages on you after you use your 3. So yeah, I'd say just ban Loki. Just don't even bother trying. It's not like it's a lost matchup or anything, but it's just like you will be bored for the first 30 minutes while he's trying to like grind your minions with his decoy. Then when you hit full build, he hits full build. Maybe he'll try to fight you. He will probably get 1 defense item, jump you with his ult, and then you either have to disengage or each we can try to fight him. But he will pop Shield of Thorns, and then you have to disengage. If you cannot disengage, you're dead. Okay, so AMC. AMC, why? Well, AMC is probably, what's debatable, the strongest god in duel. He's not really being played much this season because, well, in Europe especially not, because he's been banned all the time basically. My games, basically everyone who I played against banned it, or I banned it myself. That's why I kind of want to ban him last, because the enemies are very likely to ban him. So if you ban him last, you have a chance they ban it before you, and you still have a ban left. And I will go into those after, well, explaining a little bit more about AMC. AMC has a better edge against Hebo in the early game for sure. Whether he has the edge in the end game, I don't know, because I never played this matchup in Season 5. It always has been banned, or Hebo has been banned. It never had a game where both gods were open. That would be crazy at this moment. I wouldn't expect it. 4 bans each, and not having Hebo and AMC banned, that's crazy. So yeah, I would just ban AMC 4th. And then, after that, well, if, like I said, if your enemy is going to ban the gods you plan to ban, then you can ban in this order: Kali, Amaterasu, Susano, and Susano, and then Kronos. Very unlikely to get Kronos. Then your enemy has to ban exactly Agni, Thoth, Loki, and AMC in that order, and has to be first ban as well. And first ban, just first ban, because you don't have first pick in duel, of course. So yeah, so anyway, I'm not going too deep into these. Kali could potentially outplay you if she jumps your 3 and jumps on you, and you just missed your 3 basically because she jumped it. Then you're a little bit in trouble. You might have to ult away, or you're just dead or something, or you just fight her. Maybe you get out of it somehow, but with your 2, usually she just jumps on you. You wasted your 3. You're in trouble. Just don't get outplayed by that. Be a little bit careful with using your 3 against Kali. So yeah, these are my banning suggestions and also kind of what counters Kali. So now I'll review the god by giving it a grade and putting it in my tier list. So yeah, let me take a look into that real quick. Okay, so I will pull up my tier list and I will put Hebo, well, after talking about a little bit where I think he belongs. So here is my most recent tier list. This is made on 21st February, the same day I record this video. So yeah, let's just go into it. I'm not going to discuss my tier list in this video because that's for a different video, or I don't think I'll even make a video on it because it changes so rapidly. I feel like if I make a god review like this, it's usually for a longer period, because the god doesn't really change as much as the entire game changes, or all the gods together changes. But I must say, Hebo is one of the top bans and picks in Conquest. This means, well, why do I talk about Conquest? Because this means that he's very likely to get nerfed. Boo-hoo. Well, maybe he deserved it. Anyway, let's put him where I think he belongs. I don't think he belongs in S-. I think he beats everything from S-. He maybe struggles a little bit with Susano, but you should definitely still win it if you play it by the book. Then S. I think you might not have the edge over Agni. This is debatable, but people share my opinion in Europe on the top with on that. Some might not, but the ones that I spoke to, they share the same opinion. But all the other gods, most likely going to have the edge over them. I would say all of them. Yeah. Loki, I have in the band, but you might still have the edge. There's just not many gods to ban if you're playing a god that is basically on the top. That's why I think Hebo should be here. Hebo, maybe he struggles a bit with Uller. I think if you play by the book, you just shouldn't lose it. I feel like you really shouldn't lose this one as the Hebo. That's why I didn't even consider banning Uller. Maybe you should consider banning Uller if you struggle against him a lot. I would just say ban it instead of maybe even Agni. Not a lot of people play Agni, and if they do, it's very unlikely they are going to be capable of playing the disciplined passive game that you need to play when you play Agni. I only know 2 people who currently play Agni who have the discipline to play it the way it should be played and will most likely beat your Hebo. Sorry to say so. So yeah, this is it. I guess I give the god a rating or something. I would say 8 or something. I don't really know. That's yeah. There's that. So yeah, if you guys have any feedback on the aspects of god review, just let me know if I missed something, or if you want to know some more or whatever. Same thing kind of, and or maybe some things you kind of felt like were maybe too long. Maybe I don't know how long. I've been recording for 20 minutes, so yeah. If you feel like I did a little bit too much on one part, just let me know as well. Maybe things were not clear on some moment of the video. I don't really know. And my English is probably also not the best right now because I'm not really focusing on speaking proper English. There's so many things. I'm actually really, yeah, just so many things going through my mind when I talk about Smite because, yeah, I'm constantly overthinking builds or matchups or whatever when I talk about stuff like this. And now that I see a tier list in front of me, you cannot imagine what goes through my mind. Anyway, yeah, if you want to see another god review, please do not suggest me anything below A or A+ or something, because these are kind of irrelevant. Just suggest something in the S- section or above. So yeah, all these gods are, you can just suggest them in the comment section and I will look into it. Any questions, I will look into them as well and just answer them. So thank you for watching, have a good one. Yeah, goodbye.